My name is Mike Mansell, and I don't really have a tear-jerking testimony, but my testimony lies primarily in my marriage and how God truly took that over.
My name is Kim Mansell, and really looking back, I have been blessed my whole life. My story is really more of a transformation than anything else.
I've lived a blessed life, I'll admit that. I grew up a Catholic, so I knew who God was, but I didn't really have a close relationship with Him. And I guess growing up, I've never felt I needed to.
I grew up in church like a lot of people did. Was in church and Sunday school every single morning, but really was going through the motions.
I grew up in a family where my parents worked extremely hard and provided an abundance for me and my brother. We never went needing anything. I grew up a successful athlete, had good grades, went to a good college, got married, and walked right into a dual income. So finances were never an issue for me.
We just were very independent, relied on our own strength, and never had a need for God.
I did the church thing, but I guess spiritually, I was very lazy. My wife was the spiritual leader in the family, and I was fine with that. Things were working out great.
Years later, my brother obviously was a little bit older than me, and when visiting them, I saw this transformation in my brother that was nothing like what he was, when I was growing up with him. He just had a different life. He had joy and peace and this purpose that filled him that I didn't understand. I didn't really understand what was going on, but whatever it was, I wanted some of it.
I always thought a successful marriage was money. You have a happy wife, and you have happy kids, you're doing great. But I realized real quickly that's not what God really wanted for my marriage. And I learned it in a hard way.
We both got out of the Army just shortly before 9/11, and for the purpose of Mike to go back to school. And we kind of had to make the decision if we were going to take out a bunch of loans or, try to get through this with me getting a good paying job. And we opted for not getting in a lot of debt with loans.
I got into dental school, thought that was a real God thing, and we moved into that aspect of our life. Jobs were hard to find, and we hit a real financial low.
There were doors closing all over the place, and any money we had saved up from being in the Army together was quickly depleting. And for the first time in our marriage, we didn't know how we were going to pay our rent.
We had no money when we were in dental school, and she got a job based solely on commission. We hadn't had any sales yet, and we had no money but a whole bunch of bills.
Mike was wanting me to find something that had a steady income, which made sense. I think our extended family thought I was nuts for even considering going into such a career. But at the same time, I just felt like this is what God wanted, and He was closing every other door. So there weren't a lot of choices, but it just felt right. Shortly after that, there was probably months where the money was gone. We didn't know how we were going to pay our bills. This was something we'd never experienced before. God removed our financial security completely. Not knowing what He was doing, we questioned Him, why are you allowing us to go through this? Why is this happening? We use the line, we're good people, why is this happening?
I wanted money. That's what I was taught. You have money, you're doing good. And it was hard, and I decided that I was going to fix it. But what I learned real fast is the situation didn't need to be fixed. It was me who needed to be fixed. We actually had probably what was the only fight in our marriage at that point, and after that beatdown that she gave me that night, I realized that's the only one I ever want to have with her. And I decided it was time to let God do His thing, and I laid it all on Him. And once I did that, I really learned what God had in store for our marriage.
We were on our knees praying like we've never prayed before. It was the first time that we surrendered an area of our lives to Him. We said, God, you have to do this. There's no way we can pay these bills. We don't have money. I could write a book about those 4 years and the crazy places that God sent money from. Money that was tucked away that we didn't know about just began to show up. It's That's a story in and of itself, but God rescued us, and there's no other way to describe it.
Money came out of nowhere. Came in the mail, got some scholarships I didn't even know I was up for or was put in for. Kim started getting sales left and right, and even was moved up to a corporate job in her company. And within less than a year, we even had a house. We got out of our apartment, and financially we were set. During that time, I started getting into God's Word. I mean, I saw the miracles that were happening.
We surrendered every area of our lives to Him, our marriage, our children, everything. I mean, our purpose.
My attitude of money, wife, and kids wasn't what God wanted. God wanted God, wife, kids, and then maybe some money on the side, I guess. But once that happened, it really changed and transformed our marriage. I realized real quickly that God didn't want Kim to be the spiritual leader in our family, and I don't think Kim wanted to be the spiritual leader. I think she really wanted me to be the spiritual leader. And once I got into His Word and really got to know Him, I realized that that's the way it should have been.
From then on, our marriage has been, it has gone from good to phenomenal. There is joy, there is peace, there is purpose, there's passion, there's so many things that are in our lives now that never were. And I can't imagine going back and living that lifestyle prior to God allowing us really to go through this financial situation that brought us to our knees and brought us to Him.
God's our center, and through Him, all things are possible. You know, we can overcome anything as long as we put our trust in Him. We found real hope and real change in Jesus.